Let me ask you here, and I saw this, and you were never funnier when you hosted the show here recently, you know, last couple of months. Oh, yeah, you were very, very funny. As you said at the time, if I wasn't funny then, how could I be funny now? Right, and then you went on to demonstrate. In any event...
I want to take a look at the moment when, after you'd gotten, you lost your job at Saturday Night Live, they then invited you back on to host, like 18 months later, right?
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah, and you were kind of musing on stage in your introduction about what had happened, since you obviously weren't funny enough to be on the show, but now you're suddenly funny enough to host the show, and this was your explanation.
I was ruminating.
You were ruminating. Let's take a look at your explanation.
Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, you know, well, you'll see later. But okay, so let's recap. The bad news is I'm still not funny. The good news is the show blows.
I remember when I was doing that, and you can hear it if you listen to it, but the writers booed during that, you know. After not writing anything for the entire show, they booed.
It's ballsy. It's a ballsy thing to do. I assume you wrote that. Did you run it by, I mean, you must run it by, you must do the dress rehearsal and run it by the producers and the writers.
I was going to do a thing that I thought would be really cool, and I was talked out of it. But I was going to do the monologue and then leave and let them do the rest of the show by themselves, which I thought would be good for the show, because it would be, you know, they'd have to band together and, you know, work around the fact that the host wasn't there and stuff like that.
This was, of course, in a period when Letterman had also, he still hadn't gotten over the fact that he'd been fired by NBC, and hadn't gotten the Tonight Show right. And you went on Letterman, and I still remember seeing this. He was just fired up with anger and fury on your behalf at the pinheads at NBC. What did that mean to have Letterman at your back?
Oh, Letterman was so kind to me. Yeah, one thing about being fired was, like, a lot of cool guys I really loved, mostly Letterman, you know, he's my favorite guy ever. But Letterman and Stern and Gary Shannon and all these, Chevy and all these guys, like, jumped to my defense, which was really nice. But especially David Letterman, because he was the reason I got into stand-up, and he's the reason that I love comedy so much.
I was asking you about the driving thing, because Norm doesn't drive. We learned that last time. And then I was listening to the Howard Stern show the other day, and I heard Artie Lang telling another story about Norm, which I thought was really funny and worth telling here. Again, I heard this on Howard's Sirius radio show. Artie was saying about how, I didn't know that you got fired from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like, you know, cast member decides, oh, you know, I'm going to go do other things.
No, I got fired.
You got fired because they said, what? It was like, they say, like, you say that they told you weren't funny enough.
Yeah.
And then the show really started to suck, right? And this is like when SNL went through, like, its most unfunny period. And then they asked Norm to come back to host.
That's right, they did, yeah.
So he's like, wait a minute, I'm not funny enough to be on the cast, but I'm funny enough to come host. So there was a couple ideas, one of which was Norm was going to come in, do the opening monologue.
Oh, Artie said that? Artie said that?
Yeah, he's telling the story.
Oh, that was I had an idea. I think I know what you're... Yeah.
And the idea was to go out and do the opening monologue, because you know how now the host is like in every... It didn't start that way, but now like whoever hosts in the show, he's in like every single sketch.
Artie said this on the air?
Yeah. So I guess the one of the thoughts, and he said that you obviously ended up not going through with it, and you thought about it for a minute.
I almost did it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this I was like,
it would have been the coolest.
That would have been the greatest thing.
Yeah.
He was going to do the opening monologue, get in the elevator, and then leave, because it's a live show, but he was just going to bail. Because his character is going to be like in all the sketches, which is not...
I thought it would be actually good for the show, because it would make the show exciting after I left. They'd all be scrambling and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
see, I didn't know that they fired you.
Yeah.
I wept a little for you, because
I already tell every story I ever tell.
Well,
you know how many comics out there don't give a fuck, but kind of still do? You have to kind of still do to eat. That guy
Norm doesn't. He's so fucking funny.
One of my best opening monologue jokes ever. Did you ever see? You know, remember that whole thing when he was doing Weekend Update and they told him to make it funnier? So he didn't. He just was more Norm the next week. So eventually, of course, he gets fired. So then, he goes off into the Hollywood world. He's got a TV show or a hit movie or some shit. So now they bring him back to guest host on SNL. And I'm going to butcher this, but he kind of came out. He's like, yeah, so, people know I got fired from this show. So now they got me back hosting, which means either I got a lot funnier or this show sucks. That's what he opened up with. And I know that wasn't approved. Sorry for the bad Norm. I'll have Jay Moore on to make up for it.
That was a great Norm.
And come to think of it, I got addicted to you. Oh, no, no, no. And come to think of it, I need somebody like you. Oh, no, no, no. I need someone like you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Norm MacDonald.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're very kind. You know, in the, what's that? Oh, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is my name. You know, when the people here asked me to do the show, I gotta say, I felt kind of weird, I don't know if you remember this, but I used to actually be on this show, I used to do the Weekend Update news routine. You remember that? And, yeah. That's where I did the make-believe news jokes, That was me, right? So then, a year and a half ago, right, I had a sort of a disagreement with the management at the NBC. I wanted to keep my job, right? And they felt the exact opposite. So you see, they fired me because they said that I wasn't funny, Now, with most jobs, I could have had a hell of a lawsuit on my hands for that, but see, this is a comedy show. So they got me, you don't want it. But now, this is the weird part, right? It's only a year and a half later, and now they asked me to host the show. So I wondered, I go, hey, wait a second here. Hey! I go, how did I go in a year and a half from being not funny enough to be even allowed in the building to being so funny that I'm now hosting the show? How did I suddenly get so damn funny? It was inexplicable to me, because a year and a half, let's face it, is not enough time for a dude to learn how to be funny. Then it occurred to me, I haven't gotten funnier. The show has gotten really bad. So yeah, I'm funny compared to, well, you'll see later. But okay, so let's recap. The bad news is, I'm still not funny. The good news is, the show blows. All right, folks, we got a bad show for you tonight. Dr. Dre, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and Eminem are here.